Hello and welcome to the fifth podcast with Lillian and Andy. This time we're going to be discussing relationships and how they can create stress, which is something we need to lower on the road to recovery. Question number one, what is people pleasing?
People pleasing is when you let other people's need be above your need. And you can say it's okay when it's our babies and children that they cannot eat themselves, they cannot find food themselves or buy clothes themselves. But as they grow up, then it's important that we let them go and they start doing all these things themselves. So if you continue with this pattern of helping people more than you help yourself, it can be complicated. Of course, there's a lot of borderline issues with old people and sick people and so on. But in the bigger picture, it's something to start noticing. So I can ask you again, where are you with people pleasing?
Well, I'm learning more about it, but in the past I was definitely a people pleaser. I would do anything to make people happy at the expense of my happiness. Definitely, I was very much, we say in English, a doormat. I would let people tread on me and ignore my feelings. I wanted to avoid conflict, essentially. I wanted people to be happy and harmonious and calm, and I wanted to create an environment where things were simple and easy. And I thought that by sacrificing my own needs and pleasing other people, I could achieve that. But of course, it's stressful for you because you're not putting your own needs first.
Have you noticed the connection to, for example, people pleasing and your symptoms?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. If I'm in an environment where I find there's lots of people, then I'm quite nervous. I want to keep everyone happy. And sometimes I'll get symptoms like a tremor or something like that. There's definitely a link. Definitely.
So the idea to be more conscious about that.
Yeah, I think you need to think more about what you're actually doing and think, where am I in this? Where do my needs fit into this? Are my needs being met, crucially? And often they're not, because if you're pleasing everybody else, you're not looking after yourself.
And it is actually pretty interesting because it's not one of the big problem in my clients, but it could be hidden. So did you realize that you had this tendency of people pleasing?
Not before doing the course, I think. Maybe I had a little glimmer of it in the background, but when I did the course, it kind of came into in the forefront, and I thought this is really, really crucial for me because of experiences I had in the past that I had just tried to please people my whole life. Going back to my childhood, I can remember I was the middle child and I was very much about trying to please everyone, keep everyone happy, keep quiet, keep, not cause any problems or trouble or be noticed. I think you want to fade into the background as well. That's another aspect of people pleasing. You want to kind of move into the background and keep everyone happy by not being yourself. And I definitely applies to me.
And can you see a pattern how this evolved during your life until you were diagnosed?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think I've always been kind of I would say a wallflower, someone who wants to be in the background, someone who wants to be in a calm, quiet environment, someone who doesn't want any conflict. I think my parents divorced, and that conflict was really intimidating for me. I found it very, very difficult. Um, and then at university, I was very much a quiet person in the background, didn't really get involved in large groups of people or societies or clubs or anything, um, because it meant having to people please, I thought. So yeah, I think I've always been, and certainly in my career, my working life, I put my needs to the background and I pushed my business that I was running to the foreground and I sacrificed my own needs for that. So yes, I think I've always been a people pleaser and it's to my own detriment.
And here you sort of open the door to two different aspects of people pleasing. One is to withdraw and
Mm,
do nothing, and the other one is to serve people,
mm,
to do favors for other people.
yeah,
And I would guess that's where we're heading towards today, at least, because the other is to disappear.
yeah.
When you disappear and you're really good at it, you are not a people pleaser, you are just the shadow on the wall.
Mm, mm.
So, how did you please other people?
I accepted sort of mistreatment, if you like. I accepted bad behavior from other people. I kind of brushed it under the carpet. I thought this is okay, this is okay. I'm not being treated very well. My needs are not being met. I'll just brush it under the carpet and it will be okay. As long as I don't enter into conflict with anyone. Sometimes I did. I'm not saying that I never had conflict, but I tried to avoid it as much as possible. And I think that's how I tried to please people, by ignoring their faults, by not questioning them, by accepting a raw deal for myself, and then sweeping under the carpet anything I didn't like, thinking that
And
it would be okay.
what do you mean with a raw deal?
An unequal proportion of something. When I was about 13 or 14, I lived with my father and my stepmother, and my stepsister was a bit older than me, and I thought she was very sophisticated and amazing. And she used to get me to work like her servant. I used to make her toast, I used to bring her tea, I used to do, and she would just lay around on the sofa doing nothing. And I was like her servant, and I wanted to please her because I wanted to have a better relationship with my stepmother. Looking back, I realized I was just being used. But at the time, it just felt like a way in to have a better relationship with my stepmother.
So there's always a pro and con with thing, and here you try to buy you some attention.
I thought by pleasing my stepsister, my stepmother would like me more, because clearly she didn't. But I thought that if I pleased her daughter, she would like me more. And it's what you do. You put your own needs to one side, and then you just become servants to people.
It's a very good example of a very typical way to please other,
Mm,
to do favors
mm.
that are not returned. I
Yeah,
mean, if he made every second sandwich, things was okay. But here it was probably
she
nine
never
to
did.
one or
She never did. She never did. I just carried on doing it. And I look back now and think, why did I do that? But it's because you want to please people. You want to be liked.
that's a pattern that probably have followed you
Yeah,
during your life.
yeah, absolutely.
And how does it create stress?
It creates stress because you don't put your own needs first and you're constantly kind of alert to other people's demands or needs, despite how you might be feeling. And it creates stress because it's creating sort of like a division in your mind between what you need and what you're doing for others. And that's stressful.
The course you were talking about, it's our Overcome course that helps exactly uncovering these sort of things because we dig into your symptoms. When are they big? And that's probably how you discovered this, that I ask people to tune into the situation where the symptoms are bigger than other times.
Mm.
Can you remember anything about these stories? Did
Yeah, I
you?
think it's often more complicated though, because I think sometimes you'll try and please somebody and then you'll go away from the situation and you'll think about it. And then you often get symptoms when you're thinking about what you did, like a tremor or a headache or something that is to do with the people pleasing that you've done earlier. Because I think you, again, it's about putting your own needs aside, and then your symptoms will come out later when you think about it. You think, why did I do that? Why did I say that? Why did I not stand up for myself?
So it's actually when the inner fighter come out
Yeah,
that are telling you that now it was the time to stand up for yourself.
yeah. And why didn't I? And you're filled with regret. And that's a very negative thing to have, regret that you didn't do something. Very negative.
So it's the emotion of regret that
Mm,
I should have done
yeah,
differently.
yeah. I should have said what I wanted to say rather than what was pleasing to the people.
So where are you now with that? Is it possible for you to see it earlier?
I see it much earlier. I'm much more tuned into it. I'm much more tuned into my own attempts to please people. I'm not saying I don't do courteous and kind acts for people, because it's good to be kind and do nice things for people, but I don't I make sure that it's something that I want to do rather than something I feel I have to do.
That's a very big revelation
Yeah,
to discover that.
yeah.
So has it influenced your number of friends, your daily day?
Yeah, it's certainly influenced my number of friends. There are people I don't have a relationship with now that I used to have a relationship with, because they were people that just demanded that I please them. So I
And losing friends, that doesn't sound good. What
It
to
can be good. It can be good though. If they're causing you stress, then it's not good to be friends with them.
So you can simply cut out some stress, and with the stress, you can cut out some hours with symptoms.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to cut out stress. And I think other people are often the cause of stress, even though that stress is coming from you and your own behavior.
What you're telling here to cut off people when they are not close to you, that sort of piece of cake. But
Mm.
it becomes worse and worse when it's people you have maybe known all your life, or maybe it's close friends, or it's your family.
Yeah. It's much more difficult when it's your family, certainly, because you feel obliged to have a relationship with your family. I mean, I guess the key is to have as little to do with as possible with the members of your family who really upset you, or to challenge them and say, why do you do this? Why do you let me down? Why do you make my life more difficult? Can you see what you're doing? Can you see why I feel like this? Rather than just accepting it and carrying on as before, you need to change the situation.
And exactly what you're saying here, it's if it's people we don't know so much and don't have a lot of benefits knowing, we can cut them off. But the closer it comes, the better it is to step up in your own confidence and do
Mm,
something about it. Not that it's easy, but that you can take one more round and say, why do I lack this confidence so I cannot put boundaries on? Because if you can put a boundary on one person, it's so much easier to do it with the rest of the guys that maybe once in a while, maybe even your spouse once in a while, not thinking too much, say, can't you do this and that? And you sort of say, well, maybe it's not my time to do it, maybe it's you to do it. So becoming more and more confident make it easier and easier to set the boundaries, not only for this person that are overstepping them, but for everybody.
yeah.
And that's of course the best of all. There is a few people you probably know that you say something and immediately they say the right thing. No, it's not for me to do. You can do it yourself. I can show you how to do it, and then it's up to you, or whatever it
Mm,
comes. And that's the end goal, to be this confident person that are sort of untouchable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think with confidence comes self-love. You're being much kinder to yourself by being confident and saying what you want, allowing yourself to say no when that's appropriate for you. It's
have
really
you come
important.
to this? Have you felt that in some of your,
Yeah,
yeah?
yeah, yeah. I'll say, no, I don't want to do that. And I'll feel happy about it rather than feeling guilty. Because guilt is another emotion that I've experienced in the past over not doing things that I don't want to do just to please other people.
And you can say that all this is based on beliefs and values, because some people will run a mile for because it's our loved ones, and other people not so much.
Mm.
So it's important to take up the old rules from your childhood, to have a look at them with your adult's eye and see, is the border the limit what to do? Is it as you were 9 or 15, or is it okay to step up as an adult and say yes and no?
Yeah, I agree. Often when you look at your rules from your past, you think, why am I still doing this? I don't need to do this anymore. I'm an adult. I don't need to people please. It's not necessary. It doesn't help me.
So with the example of this about making sandwich,
Yeah.
it's not good that the one do the sandwiches all the time, but you take turns and
Mm.
shift doing it. That's sort of probably fine.
You need equity in your relationships. They need to be on an equal footing where you feel that you're with someone who is respects you and is equal to you, rather than thinking that you have to please them because they're more important than you are.
Yeah. And you can say when there's two confident people
Mm.
in the same room, the one can actually say without any troubles, will you please make me a sandwich? And the other can say, no, sorry, not today. So if you get into that level of confidence, you can easily challenge each other a little, just saying what you need, what you want, and trusting that the other say yes or no, and
Mm.
that's it.
Let me ask you the next question, Lillian. What type of people are people pleasers?
I think it's people that has lived in families where it was a way to get love and attention from parents.
Mm.
So they have got a pattern that if I serve my mother, serve my father, or serve other family members, I get praise, I get maybe a little hug, I get seen and heard. And you say, that felt good. Let me do
Yep.
that some more.
Yep.
And then you slowly carve these pattern of thinking and feeling, and it has probably been a success, at least a few situations in your childhood, and you thought, yes, that's the way in my family to get love and attention, and that's what I'm going to do going forward. Not that it's conscious like this, but it's like a treat that you do more of what feels nice and less of what is not so nice.
Mm-hmm. Next question. What is a toxic person?
A toxic person, if you should be very, very down to the core, that's a person that is probably not conscious about them demanding more than they give. But they need a person that have no boundaries in that field, because if they were met from confident people, they would just be shut down all the time. So they can only exist together with a person with weak boundaries.
Mm.
So they would be very alone if they couldn't find any, but they have probably back in time been the 3-year-old that succeeded, claiming to the rest of the family, I want candy, I want you to do me a favor, I want this, and the whole family, or at least one person, obey this person, and they say, wow, that's a smart thing. So it's also based on a pattern in the family. So they automatically got a love and attention doing exactly that. And they, of course, continue doing this pattern. Like you've been doing a people pleaser pattern, this toxic person have been doing a let me have what I want pattern. Of course, there's a ton of different way of being toxic, but here with people pleasing, it can only exist if there's two of these.
Yeah, a toxic person and a people pleaser.
Yeah, the two people pleasers, they will probably make a dance around each other,
Yeah,
who to serve who, and feeling bad because the other did it every second time. The toxic person just say, yes, please give me more, bring it on.
interesting. What is a toxic relationship?
Yeah, but that's exactly what we mentioned. It's a relationship where there are two people with two patterns that make them fit, that they continue using the pattern from the childhood. So the one serving and the one demanding more. Then you have a toxic relationship. And you can say in the start it might work well, but sooner or later the underdog in the relationship will feel starved in some way.
Yeah, yeah. I have experience of this. I've been in a relationship that was very toxic, and I was starved. Absolutely, absolutely. So, and I didn't realize it because I think often you don't. When you're a people pleaser, you don't realize how badly you're being treated and that your needs are not being met. You put everything to one side and you think, I need to maintain the way everything is, need to continue. Interestingly, there's a relationship that I ended recently with somebody because I couldn't be straightforward. I couldn't be honest with them. I couldn't talk to them about things, various things. I had to avoid certain subjects. And I thought this is a stressful, toxic relationship. It's not honest. It's not based on trust or mutual respect. So I finished that relationship, and I feel better for having done that. I think you often think I can't end these relationships because I'll feel bad, but you don't. You feel better.
Yeah, and there might be some weeks or months after where there's a little empty room, but often that means more space to your other relationship, or you being bored and going out to a meeting and meet new people. So there's a chance to fill in the gaps with new people that hopefully have better patterns. And trust me, as you develop as a person, you will easier see if you run into people with these bad patterns and reject them automatically and get more and more of the good
Yes,
relationship.
it's a skill, isn't it? It's a skill that you develop being able to do this because it means you're more self-aware. You're doing what is better for yourself, which is so important.
Yeah,
Why do people stay in toxic relationships?
it's because each of the person have this pattern from the past running. So it's a repeated pattern, and both of them repeat it, and it fits good a long way on the road. And because they make these replays, it feels safe some strange way, because it's remind about the relationship. It might be with your father or mother or a sibling. It reminds so much that it feels safe and right, because that's what you know. You think that's how a relationship should be.
Mm. It's also predictable, isn't it? It becomes predict, and your brain likes to predict, feels comfortable when it's predicting. And I think these toxic relationships, if it's what you're used to, then your brain predicts it and says it's okay. Of course, it's not okay. It needs to be questioned.
Yeah, you don't put this question mark. Could it be different? Could we have a better relationship?
Mm.
Is there someone in the world that's better matched to me? We don't make these question marks
No. No.
until something breaks. There's a book, I think it might be Danish, telling that you always fell in love with the right person. And it's because we have these patterns that need to fit
Yeah.
in order to be attracted. There must be something, I know this way of being in the world.
Mm.
And when you start thinking in that direction, there's nobody that has the blame. It's both parties that need to grow up and develop as a person. One probably haven't got the need, but the one that feel the pain all the time
Mm.
will sooner or later be pushed into this. And if I should say that now you became pushed into the diagnosis of Parkinson
Mm.
with all this stress,
Yeah.
and you had to do something about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me, Lillian. I was pushed into the diagnosis and I had to do something about it. That's exactly the story that happened to me. Exactly. Okay. How do I know if I'm in a good relationship?
That is very, very difficult because again, we have these patterns and it's so, so difficult to see yourself from the outside.
Mm.
But being more and more aware of your own stress and your own emotions, and that's the thing I teach people in the courses, that you start to become better and better and interpret, why did I have this stress and these symptoms here and there? What was the underlying emotion? Was it good or bad emotion?
Mm.
And then I can see it happen more and more often when I'm together with this person. And then a day you have enough time, it's rainy outside, you sit and ponder, pro and con. It's been a friend my whole life, but now I get more stress than I get good things.
Mm.
And then you take a step deeper. How important is this? Do we shut the door, or do you evolve as a person and take the fight and say, no, we are not having this relationship? What about we both develop and have some better boundaries about
Mm.
where to go with this?
Absolutely. How are people pleasing and toxic relationships connected to the Overcome Parkinson's course?
You can say in that course, it's not that we cover personal relationship as such, but as you have mentioned, there's a lot of room for reflections and noting the connection between your symptoms and your stress and emotions. And then slowly, instead of this being a blur of symptoms, a blur of stress, then you become better and better in pinpointing what is going on in your life.
Mm.
And then the stress can go in all different directions. Your job, your family, your past trauma, and so on. And here also the relationships.
Mm.
So I think each one on the course have different problems that they get an eye on, that they suddenly realized, wow, this person, this thing, this situation always caused me some stress or heated emotion. And then you, as you get better and better to this, it will become faster and faster to see the culprit.
Mm.
So maybe tell a little about your experience.
Well, certainly when I did the course, since doing the course, I'm much more perceptive to when a relationship is not good. I'm much more aware of it, and I'm much more likely to notice the things that make me stressed. And I think, as I said before, a huge part of my past has been to do with dysfunctional, toxic relationships that I've had with people. And now I'm more aware of that. I'm less likely to allow myself to be put in that situation again. And that's keeping my stress levels down, definitely.
I think that's really amazing and good to hear that
Mm.
it's actually working and it's working after the course as well. It's actually a toolbox that you have for the rest of your life because
Yeah.
we will never have the perfect group of friends. There will always be some challenges in family and friends. And having this awareness, it's easier to say, stop,
Yeah.
that's not working, or
Yeah.
let's have a talk about that. Getting some confidence to go into the conflict, knowing that we need people that support us. If they don't support us, I mean, one time a friend could have a bad day,
Mm.
having a row with their spouse and come with a lot of bad energy, and that's maybe okay. But if
Mm.
it's a continuous process of them giving you bad energy all the time, then it's the time to either put some distance to them or maybe challenge themselves a little or challenge yourself a little. Why can't I put a boundary on this person? Why don't I say, stop? This discussion is not going that direction. I don't like that. So could we have a pause? Could we stop? Could we see you again in a month, or what to do?
Mm. Yes, certainly the course made me much more aware of what I was doing. Maybe it made me think more about my own behavior and my own thoughts. And the relationships that I just took for granted, that I just accepted as being there, some of them were not good for me, some of them were bad. I've taken steps to change or finish those relationships. And hard as it might be, it's essential to do that. It's a source of stress.
And then we can maybe go one step further, that you might have some relationship that are pretty good, but you also can see some
Mm.
aspects where you say, let's say 90% is good, but this, in this situation, there's something wrong.
Yeah,
Having the confidence to bringing it up,
yeah,
it will help you so you do talk about it before you become stressed. So in a good relation, I'm pretty sure it will become better and better.
yeah. Don't be afraid to say how you feel. If something is upsetting you or stressing you out, talk about it. That's essential.
And a relationship that love you, they will accept this talk.
Yeah,
So you can
yeah.
hear both sides and agree about a new way of doing things. Maybe a completely new third way
Mm,
of doing things pops up.
absolutely.
Why are you and I sitting here?
It's about sharing, isn't it? It's really essential to communicate and to share ideas. And it's how you learn. You learn about your own stress and how to manage it, which is so crucial and so important.
And here in this subject, we have an extra element, and is that plus 90% of the world think that you can do nothing.
Mm,
And as we cannot reach the whole globe in one post, continue sharing
absolutely. We need
that.
to keep pushing the message. It's really important because you can do something. I mean, my life has changed fundamentally because my mindset is so different now. I don't think that I am condemned to a miserable life. I think that my life is going to get better. And with that knowledge, I am getting better.
Yeah. And I have experienced the same, and it's sort of, I need to share all these. And I hope you
Mm.
are in a similar situation, that we need to onboard more people in this knowledge. You can do something. You can take your stress-related symptoms and dig into the stress.
Mm.
And what is left, if there's anything left that's called Parkinson, time will show.
Yeah. It's actually about changing yourself, because we are stuck in a bad place, and you need to change yourself, the way that you think, the way that you behave, in order to become better. You need to change all those things. And it's an exciting, really exciting process. It's a slow process. I acknowledge that it takes time, and often you get new symptoms as you start to change. You change your behavior, you get new symptoms. It makes sense. But this is good. You should embrace it and keep going.
Amazing.